Good morning, everyone. Thank you, Professor Brian Paul, for this opportunity, and hopefully we'll have a wonderful session today. Particularly today's task is to help you with your assignment that you have this week. I'll show it to you right away on Canvas. What is the task, what you're supposed to do there, and so that we can cover up at least the basics, even if you're not well acquainted with the cinematic terms, jargons, and how to analyze a film. Today's discussion will be diverted towards the assignment task to help you out, okay? And to begin with, last class, just a little recap. We did how to notice behind the screen. We can see what is happening there, but we gotta know how that is happening and why that is happening. And thereby the discussion went towards from the micro stuff to macro, the bigger picture. And we'll see some examples. We'll see a short film today and kind of run through the same task or the same kind of task in a very little scope in class that you have for assignment. That's a different film, Hitchcock's Vertigo. But we'll see a short, it's maybe a 13-minute one, and then we'll run through it so that I can help you how to do that, how to see at least one thing. And the first thing that you have to do for that is, do you guys know how to take notes while watching? Because you cannot watch it again. Because everyone will say then, I want to watch the first scene, I want to watch the last scene. You know what I'm saying? So when we'll watch that 13-minute short, my request to you would be, pick one scene / at least one or two shots that is significant to you with your personal experience, from your personal expertise, that you think the sound design of that particular, I can talk better on that. Pick that then, you know? The editing, the camera, the character, acting, blocking, whatever you think is significant to you. Pick that, take a note right away. And then we'll go back to the task. While we'll be doing the task, I repeat, we cannot watch it again. Make sense what I'm saying? So if you take note, I can help you then how you'll structure, or if you don't know the technicalities, I can help you. This is called jump cut. This is called, in editing language, match cut. This is called this lens, that lens. We can have that discussion. Make sense what I'm saying? So the first thing is, please take note of something, at least one thing of that short film. And it's a very interesting film. It's an Oscar-winning film in 2016. The name of the film, you have a question?
Sorry, I don't mean to interrupt, but the
Please.
sheet on the assignment is locked. Like, I don't know if we have access to it.
I'll unlock it. That's what I mean.
Thank you for letting us know. Before I start the short film that I said I'll show it to you, I should show you also this Canvas task sheet. If you haven't had a look at it, this is how it looks like. There will be a doc sheet, which is the short sheet for shot-to-shot analysis. It's fine if you cannot have a look at it now. If it's locked, it will be unlocked, as Professor said. The reason I'm showing it to you is you'll see one scene from Vertigo, and then you'll do shot-to-shot analysis, like this is the mise-en-scène, this is how the character moves, and this is what the sound kind of relates to it, whatever we learned in the micro stuff and how the macro picture looks like, similar to what we discussed in the last class, and we'll dive deep today, definitely. And it's quite well structured, the instructions. About citations, if you have questions, feel free to ask me, because let's say you're citing from not only a book, a PDF, or maybe a YouTube lecture, or a film review of someone else, and you're using that knowledge, how to cite that. Do you know that? Always do cite. That's what first I'll say. And if you just Google online citation generator, Purdue University has a citation lab that gives you free citations, whether MLA or APA, these are the name of formats that you can cite your resource from where you're borrowing knowledge. Always do cite. If it's not your own knowledge, you must cite. You can definitely borrow others' knowledge, but you gotta cite. Make sense? And if you have looked into my gradings, mostly I recommend about citing options, and I try to suggest. But if I haven't done that with all the responses in the assignment, that's why I'm sharing it again. For the film review as well, you can see there's a book chapter mentioned here, chapter 3. So you gotta read that first before you attempt analyzing this particular sequence. We're on the same page? All good? Now let's go back to today's. Thank you. While watching this film, your task is just to take note of one single thing, whatever you feel like. You can take multiple notes and then just stick to one in the end. Okay? After watching it, we'll come back to how stories are constructed. We haven't talked much about it. Script. If you're interested in storytelling, writing, then what is Dan Harmon's story circle theory and how that is used in many films, whether Hollywood films or even outside Hollywood. So we'll discuss on that, giving you some preview where we are heading towards. And then we'll go, after this task, directly to Vertigo. That is your assignment for this week. So let's watch this short. It's a very interesting one. It's a very nice one. I love this short. And it's wonderfully scripted. Oh, good. Get ready to take notes at the same time you watch it.
Holding up phone.
Hello? Sir, can you hear me?
My.
Hello? Sir, are you there?
Bill. I'm actually I'm calling about my bill.
Your through to one better broadband. Thank you for holding. Your call is important to us. Please wait, and a customer service representative will be with you shortly. You're through to Umbrella Broadband. Thank you for holding. Your call is important to us. Please wait, and a customer service representative will be with you shortly. You're through to Umbrella Broadband. Thank you for holding. Your call is important to us. Please wait, and a customer service.
Judgment 1224. Year 11 student. Flaky but loyal. Received first ever blowjob 2 nights ago. Current mood ecstatic. Music, 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 slow pleasure. Pleasure, pleasure. Music, slow pleasure. Counting, 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 counting. Pleasure, pleasure. Music, 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 slow pleasure. That, music's pleasure. The human soul experiences from hunting without being aware it's Coating. No. I like that one.
Please wait, and the customer service representative will be with you shortly. You're through to Umbrella Broadband. Thank you for holding. Your call is important to us. Please wait, and the customer service representative will be with you shortly. You're through to Umbrella Broadband. Thank you for holding. Your call is important to us. Please wait, and the customer service representative will be with you shortly.
Someone who can more myself, but your company is not communicating with him. So please either communicate with me or get in touch with my son. This seems to be the problem. The website is not able to access it. Otherwise it would be released to work.
Snap judgment 1225. Charity worker. Dependable, funny, but quiet in large groups. Dreams of escaping the Buenos Aires to set up a wine bar. Loves words. Hence, despises text speak. Okay. Hey, sorry, only getting back to you now. Amazing that you're in London. I'd love to meet with you, but the thing is, my bloody cousins are visiting, and No.
Excuse me, can you tell me where the Blue Swan Cafe is, please? Blue Swan Cafe? Oh God, I'm so sorry. Sorry.
Blue Swan, sure. Through the crossroads, second left. You can't miss it. What am I doing? Hi, Effie. So sorry I haven't got back to you. If you're still in London and by some chance still want to meet me, I'd love to meet you. Yours sincerely, world's biggest dickhead. Sam.
Oh, you don't fucking trust me. You don't trust me? No, of course I fucking don't.
Why don't you trust me?
Oh, it's what you like.
What
you
do
do?
I like?
What the fuck you staring at him like that for, huh?
I wasn't staring.
You should fucking lie, stole you,
staring.
fucking stole you.
I wasn't staring. What?
I know.
Why are you trying to?
Don't fuck me around, okay? The fuck do you want? When you're doing something where you're taking a bit of time to take it out of the ground, you can really see the fruits of your labour, and I think there's something very satisfying about it.
Snap Judgment 1226. Reclusive typographer, invisible to the naked eye. Communication skills of an infant. Excels in the art of self-pity.
Ellie, hello, hi. Great, nice to finally meet you in person.
Meet you in person.
It's great to meet you. Nice flowers and these are for you. I say these. Both these. There's something for you. These flowers. This is the first day.
I know, it's cosmetic surgery.
Yeah, it's been a little bit of work on some of the cereal, right? Look like cereal flowers. Here's something. I was worried for you. I was going to give you flowers as a book. I have flowers, haven't you? Cheesy. Flowers. It's crazy. And now the person's probably just as cheesy. I'm sorry, Ellie. Great. I'm really sorry. I thought it was here. I was worried about it here. I was worried about it here. Years. I just thought it was I'm sorry for it. I mean, London and it's great to speak to you. I'm sorry for me.
Cool. Before we start the task, just a casual chit chat to start with and to warm up the task. So, did you like it? What did you like if you liked it? And if you didn't, you can also say, this is why I didn't like it. Opening the floor to all of you. Please.
I would say like a lot of the use of colors is very interesting because the main character predominantly like always wore blue. And
Interesting.
Seems like surrounding him with like the use of lighting and stuff was always like a very warm like offering. Or like the optics use like warm and stuff, like the bouquet of flowers with like warm use of warm colors.
Do you see a shift or transformation of colors from,
I would say,
yeah?
At first it seemed a lot more cooler.
Perfect. And later on we see warmer.
Yeah.
So cool to warmer, kind of referring to a site of hesitance to a site of comfort later on, the way the character has the same journey. Anyone else on something else? Thank you for sharing. Yep.
I really liked how the opening scene like focused like on his lips and then
Yeah, close shot.
everything on focus behind him
Mm-hmm.
to like kind of emphasize like the amount of struggle that the stutter had.
Mm-hmm. Bingo. Thank you. The extreme close shot of the lips, and we get to know the character. what's the problem he is going through. It states the problem in the very first scene. Someone else, please.
I'm kind of adding on to that when it started from like trying to like make a call and like pay his bills, but like he was stuttering and he couldn't get it out.
Right.
And then throughout the rest of the film, like whenever he was like on his laptop, he had like call like he was like on hold and it was like, you know, your call is important to us, but which I think is ironic because when he did call, they hung up on him because he
Yeah.
couldn't get the words out.
Yeah, we get to know the dad's character and role in his life as well through this incident. How dad is the only person we saw, I mean, before he met his girlfriend or online friend, that is the only person who helped or understands and quite patient listening to him. Please.
I really liked it how they like showed the symptoms stuttering, but then him like thinking perfectly in his mind.
Soliloquy, yeah.
Yeah, so it like really showed like how awful that was to feel if you completely like form it in your mind but not get it out verbally.
And it's a very interesting choice. The character actually, I mean, his voice is actually very soothing and nice, but we can only hear in soliloquy. You guys know the theatrical term soliloquy, when we speak in our own mind. Mostly in Shakespearean plays and other plays in classic texts, you would see, if you have read theater, monologue is different. When I'm speaking alone, that's monologue. Dialogue is when people are speaking to each other. Soliloquy is when I'm speaking in my mind. And the audience only can get to know that, not the characters around them. That's the difference between monologue and soliloquy. So this is a soliloquy throughout the text, throughout the film, we can see examples of soliloquy. Anyone else on something else, please?
Through him speaking like in his mind, like you can like relate to him and kind of understand what he's thinking, and like you heard his own solo
Yeah.
many times, like he was overlapping his thoughts, and you could like follow his struggle, I guess.
And the last scene particularly, one of my favorite scenes, if I had to pick one, I would have picked that, where we see diegetic and non-diegetic kind of blurring this difference. Diegetic as in the sound that is on screen coming from the scene and the sound that is music coming outside the screen. You can hardly differentiate between these two because his voice is getting layered one over the other in the very last sequence. Because his thoughts are like that. So it's not the real-time speech that we give, which is linear, but it's overlaid because it's going in mind, and mind is very chaotic. That's an interesting one. Thank you for sharing that. Anyone else on something else that strike you significantly? Please, yeah?
In that scene you were talking about, like one of the last scenes where he was having all those like thoughts and it was like very chaotic, the editing was really good.
Bingo. Thank you for sharing that. Do you know the cut, the editing that is called? The term? It's called jump cut. So when you're writing about scenes, I would request, just Google it, you'll get plenty of sheets of names, name of shots, like what is a mid shot, what is a close shot, what is over the shoulder shot, what is a profile shot. When they were playing checkers or whatever, the board game, father and the son, we see the scene with a profile shot, profile 2 shot. So those kind of stuffs. In this case, we don't have a continuity editing or match cut. Match cut is, I went there and went outside the room and you're following me throughout. That's a match cut. You put the camera here and then again outside, it's a match cut. It's a jump cut, the last scene that you were referring to, because we don't have the linear continuity of time. So those are the technical things that we need to mention when we write about it. But I'll go in more detail about all these stuff that you all are sharing, just collecting some few thoughts. Anyone else, something that we haven't discussed so far you want to share? Please.
Whenever they started fighting at the bus stop,
Bingo.
the close-up shot like really captured the intensity. Like show the intensity of the situation.
Yeah, and you don't have to show it always. That's also something interesting we get to learn, right? The fight was not shown, but it was quite evident, and you get to know it. And there is only one shot, if I can recall it correctly, about, as we were talking about shots, let me ask you guys. There is only one shot which, I guess one shot, yes, if I'm not wrong, which is not stable, which is shaky. The camera is shaking from his point of view. Do you guys remember which one was that? Can anyone recall? You know, stable is stable. You put the camera on tripod, you get a stable shot. But it's a little hesitant. It's that kind of a shot. It's shaking. You remember? Let me show it to you. You see? It's not stable. The camera is moving, it's handy. It's handheld shot. What's the difference between a handheld shot and a stable shot? Can anyone guess? A handheld establishes or confirms that it was his point of view shot. It was not a directorial point of view shot. It was the character's point of view shot. So from whose eyes we are looking at this? We're looking at this scene or this character from our main character, Greenwood's eye. Make sense what I'm saying? Because the real eye is not stable like camera or like machine. It will be a little unstable. Make sense? So those kind of little details that we pick up depends on what macro stuff we want to talk about. So circling back, I can come back to the shots whenever we need to, but I wanted to share. Anyone knows about Dan Harmon's story circle? Nice. Can you give a little glimpse of it? Would you mind?
I forget the because there's words to go with each slice of the story ending to ending, but I don't know. It's been a really long time.
That's fine, that's fine. It's just the way the whole story is broken down. And each part, 8 parts are there, you would see it. And I'll show you a complete breakdown of this story and how each part speaks to the next scene and how it is constructed, how it's speaking to the macro that we are talking about, how the whole circle is completed. So I'll show you a breakdown of it right here. You don't have to use Dan Harmon's theory for your assignment. It's just the way stories are scripted. And if you're going through writer's block, it helps. I'm not saying every director or writer maintains Dan Harmon's story circle, but it helps. Interstellar, for example, complicates it. So the film uses Dan Harmon's story circle, but complicates in a way it uses multiple times. But now for the short, we'll see the whole complete circle, the way the film started and ended. And the theory is one circle is completed. Interstellar does it multiple times, like uses Dan Harmon's story circle several times in the whole film. But we'll see this example as a basic and to get an idea how it works.
So we already have the first 2 points on the story circle. We have a character, Greenwood, and we know what he wants, to be in a deep, intimate relationship. And we also know what holds him back, his beliefs about his stutter. Now let's look at point 3. We need to place Greenwood into an unfamiliar situation. This is where Ellie fits in. The unfamiliar situation means to specifically challenge Greenwood's beliefs. This short film uses the fact that Greenwood and Ellie have been chatting online for 6 months, and now Ellie is in London and wants to meet. This is a great unfamiliar situation. For Greenwood to get what he wants, it will mean confronting his deeply held beliefs. This is a fantastic dilemma. What will Greenwood do? So now we move to 4. Greenwood must adapt to this new situation. Now that we know who Greenwood is, we understand how he would react. At first, he simply doesn't want to respond. He wants to go on the date, yet he doesn't want to reveal that he has a stutter. He wants connection, but feels completely constricted. Now let's move to 5. The character gets what they want. Greenwood should decide to meet. This is what he wants. No matter how scared he is, he does want this. So he takes the chance.
Hi, Eddie. So sorry I haven't gone back to you. If you're still in London and by some chance still want to meet me, I'd love to meet you.
However, at 6, Greenwood will pay for this. One of the biggest important elements of a good drama is that characters' action must be challenged. Characters heading towards what they want or getting what they want should always come at cost. This keeps the conflict heightened and the story moving forward. So Ellie will agree to meet, because this is who she is. She is one who has accepted herself and is willing to take a chance. However, now that Ellie has agreed to meet, Greenwood's walls are going to have to come down. He won't be able to hide. Now we go to 7, return to a familiar situation. So this is where a lot of people get caught up. They are confused as to what the return is. Sometimes it can be a literal return to a place. Sometimes it can be a return to the balance before the conflict began. And that's what I want to focus on here. The return is bringing the philosophical conflict to its breaking point and reaching catharsis. Greenwood must go to meet Ellie. This is the biggest challenge to his beliefs. If this goes poorly, he will retreat back into his old beliefs. However, if it goes well, then he may become a changed person. If the goal is to push the drama as hard as we can, then it must seem like there's no way this can go well. And then when it does go well, the audience is relieved and experiences catharsis. Not just because the date went well, but because the philosophical ideas of self-acceptance, honesty, and risk-taking are confirmed by the story. So now we need to build.
To be so for real, last year was kind of a lot for me. I was just
That's the saddest part of AVANT.
Stuck at some points.
Our ending. Remember when we were building the character of Ellie? We never gave her an external obstacle that she has already conquered to show her philosophical beliefs. So let's do that now. When Greenwood goes to the date, he must realize that Ellie is someone who has her own problems, yet has accepted herself and is willing to be honest. And because this is a love story and we want the ending to resonate, Ellie's external problem should complement Greenwood's external problem, as if they were made to be together. So if Greenwood can't speak, then maybe Ellie should be able to hear. And this is how this short film builds its ending. Greenwood can't speak, but he realizes that Ellie is deaf. And then at number 8, Greenwood is changed. Being honest and taking a risk work in his favor. He will
So that's how Dan Harmon's story circle works. A little bit clear now? How the character from a familiar comfort zone goes through the transformation that we see, pay a price, hesitates, and then in the end we see a transformation, coming back to the full circle. Now, how it is complicated in Hitchcock's Vertigo, you can think of it. You don't have to write about it. But the similar kind of dilemma we see in Scotty. Have you guys watched Vertigo? So you will. It's fine, because it's the assignment, so you have to. So how Scotty, our main character there, who was a detective and then kind of retired, and what kind of dilemma he goes through, what he chases, how he meets his own shortcomings. So that there is a little similarity of this story circle, but definitely Hitchcock is one of the iconic, so it was complicated a little bit there. But think of it when you watch that and kind of write your analysis. Now, we all have taken some short notes, what we watched. We understood the whole story, the way it's constructed. That's the basic. I'm saying again, you can break always Dan Harmon's story circle when you're writing it. We see different kind of experimental shots on films as well. But that's kind of a good point to start with if you're thinking of character-based storytelling, which is also Vertigo, this week's assignment. Scan it. You don't have a device then pair up with someone who's sitting next to you. You don't need to log in. You don't need to put anything to scan and see the page. The task is what you have already taken note on the scene that you picked up, or the shot, or the color. Just write that down. But in which way you'll write that down, I put kind of a similar pattern that you have in Canvas for Hitchcock. So once you are done with the scanning, I'll show you the page, how it looks like. And we all will be in the same page. Are we good? Anyone needs more time? If you don't have a device, just pair up with someone next to you. All good? Shall we go to the page? We all scanned? It's working, right? Nice. So it should take you right here. Are we all on the same page? Now the task is, there's a little template there. Shot, mise en scène, sound editing, which is the same you have on Canvas about Hitchcock's Vertigo's assignment. I'm kind of having a run-through rehearsal for that through this short film that we watched. So write the name of the shot that you picked, what kind of mise-en-scène / what mise-en-scène is, all the activities you see on screen on that particular shot. If it's a multiple shot that you want to talk about, then talk about the sound and the editing, how those shots are merged. All good? What you just have picked up and we discussed together, just write that here. And if it's a group, write the group's name, like Alex and Adam. Write both names on top of team names that the sample you can see. And if it's only you're submitting, you can write any name you want. You don't have to write your full name. Whatever your preferred name is, you can write whatever you want. All good? And it will be live. So if you're doing it, I guess we all can see and read all at the same time. To do it, you have to click this plus button. There's a point here. If you click, it would show you a post. And then just type what you have noticed already, please. Oh, yes, sure. Yeah, you can comment on mine. Just a second. Just someone was commenting on that. Yeah, so you can comment here, but that's not the point. The point is click here. My question is it allowing you to click? The box opens up and you can post. Awesome. I'll give you a couple of minutes to do that. Are we good? Nice. So we have one post. The purpose is to train you how to write, actually. So once you actually write something, a little clue for me to take it from there. I'll help you how to write. What kind of technical language we are supposed to use, what is expected, what are the do's and don'ts in such cases of short analysis of a film sequence. Anyone having any tech trouble? Needs any assistance? Nice, we are almost there. The screen is filling up. We all done? Someone needs a few more minutes or? Okay. I'll pick a few and discuss with the class. But if I'm skipping any, I mean, obviously there will be lots of posts. Feel free to raise your hand and just stop me. And if you want me to focus on your post, and I haven't, once I start talking about all the posts, because I'll be picking random, feel free to stop me and I'll read your post and give you feedback live right away. Okay, all good? So let's start. First of all, the format. Those who are writing in this format like short, mise en scène, sound and editing. Yes, that's how the worksheet is, also in your canvas for the assignment on vertical. So I would expect you maintain the same format. That's first thing. Do's and don'ts. You can see on top, I have shared the credit titles. Why? It's kind of being a media student or scholar, we all pay respect to each other as co-workers. You will be a director maybe, or perhaps a production manager, or even if you're in the field of advertising or journalism, you'll play some role in the production or content creation. And the reason I'm saying it, the ethical reason is, you must give them credit. So when you're talking about sound, you mention the sound designer's name. It's not the director then. Make sense what I'm saying? When you're talking about cinematography, the camera, you mention the name. So you got to do a little research. I'm not expecting right away, just telling you when we are writing about any content, make sure you do that research. The film doesn't belong to the director only. It belongs to the whole crew. So whatever aspects you're picking up, make sure, say you're talking about editing, then know who edited that film. And while you're writing, you write the name of it, the person. Good? That's how we kind of give credit, at least to our own community. That's one thing. Another is timestamp. So let's say you're talking about 50-second. So you put it like this. In parentheses, mostly we use it. If any particular timestamp you want to refer to. You don't have to. If you're referring, use a timestamp. Good? Now let's read a few. So let's look at this one. We haven't talked much about it. I like the shot where he is separated from the girl and abusive ex, visually separated by the bus stop sign to represent how he stays to himself and doesn't talk to anyone. Then he crosses over the line to help protect the woman, showing a kind of transformation. If you don't mind, who would like to respond? I mean, who responded on this? It's a nice one. Just to have a discussion. I cannot see hands. Oh, yes. So would you like to elaborate?
It was just like the first one that came to mind because I remember we talked about it last class, and then he was just sitting like at the bus stop and I saw the visual line that's like like this where
yes.
everyone helped the girl, so I saw it was like him kind of like trying to step in and do something.
Bingo. So the first shot, if I can recall, correct me if I'm wrong, is a wide, long shot from the other side of the road, correct? Then we went to that side of the road where that scene is happening later on. So that's how we start. Shot, the first shot, other side of the road, a wide, long shot. You mentioned the name of it. All good? Then cut to, we see a match cut here, not a jump cut. Match cut as in a continuity of time. So when in the box of editing, you write match cut. Then whatever the match cut is, close shot of his face or his point of view. As far as I remember, we see from his point of view that fight was going on. So the camera was on his point of view, that means a profile shot. We also call this POV, point of view shot, when you're looking from his point of view. Make sense what I'm saying? Oh, good? Just giving you the language to write. Anything particular you want to ask? Let's move to the another. Let's have a look at this one. Who responded? Please, would you like to explain?
Yeah, I mean, it's going to talk about.
Is it the first thing you're talking about?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I guess like specifically, like visually, there's not like much to see aside from very close to the space. Kind of as like space. shots, I guess, from like stutter to stutter to stutter.
Right, yeah.
That kind of added like the frustration, I guess, and just like make it overall like more intense.
Bingo, yeah. And I would just add one thing. I'm kind of trying to pick different things so that I can talk of different technicalities. In your case of that first close-up shot of his mouth, I would say when you're writing in the short column, yes, an extreme close shot of his lips, right? Of his mouth. But you got to talk about lens as well in that case. So you got to know what kind of lens was used. I'm not saying in terms of number, like I'm not saying 50 prime, 85 millimeter prime. I'm not saying that. At least the depth of field, which was not deep focus, which was shallow focus. Do we know the difference? Last class we talked about it. Shallow focus is when you see me and not the background. You only see me. It's a little blurry, the background. That's what shallow focus is. And what is a deep focus? For example, her example, that scene, that shipwreck we talked a while ago, that was a deep focus. The other side of the road, the camera was, and we can see everything in detail, nothing was blurry. In the bus stop. All good? And if you're talking about editing in that scene, it started with a black screen and audio, kind of emphasizing on the soundscape, which is the prime driving unit of this film, actually, because it's sound. Another important thing is, anyone talked about art direction here? Like the setting. Anyone wrote on that? No? We kind of skipped it. So that's very important as well. What's his profession? Do you guys know what he does? Could you get it? Anyone? Please.
It looked like he was working on keyboards.
Yes, and I mean, give us more detail and scenes if you remember. Do you?
Thinking about seeing the film. I just remember seeing it.
Let me show it to you. Just a good recall would be good enough. So we see him working here, right? He is surrounded by letters. Did you guys notice? He's surrounded by letters. All the props you'd see in his room are, let me show you some other sequences too. And he's surrounded by books. So he designs posters possibly. He does work with letters, the way we see in calligraphy. It seems he designed letters, and you would see a lot of, there's one scene in the beginning, there was a panning, he was working with letters and designing, and then we get to him from the wall. I forgot what that is. It should be in the beginning. This is the shot I was trying to talk about here. See the background? That's the art direction, which talks about what he does, which is quite ironic. It is the problem that he has, speaking, letters. He's a stutterer, but kind of ironic that he works with letters, right? That's very interesting. So when you are analyzing Hitchcock's Vertigo, art direction you cannot miss. There is a huge influence of art direction in that film, which kind of like is those macro stuff that talks to that macro, the bigger picture of the film. You can make meaning out of it once you can decode the art direction of that film. Not only the camera movement, not only the character's movement, but what is there on the wall. And we'll have a look at it soon. Just one more analysis that I'll pick. If anyone wants me to focus on something else, please feel free, that I should read out loud. And one more thing, I'm quite fussy about foreign language and proper spellings of it. So I personally don't prefer writing mise en scène in English. It's not an English word, so you write the French spelling of it. That's what I'll expect when I'll see your writing. I'm not saying I'll deduct points out of it, but it's just respect towards other languages. Make sense what I'm saying? We should not make everything English which is not English. All good? So I just had a glimpse of it. Maybe now we are writing, please.
Can you, I got a question here and also.
Oh yeah, sorry. I missed it. Thank
so
you.
For like these like analysis, is it for like one scene in particular, or is like the whole film? So like, do you go through like the mise en scene for like one scene, or like the shot for one?
Right now here, only one scene.
Okay.
And also for your assignment, one scene.
Okay.
Your assignment is not on the whole film Vertigo. But yes, I mean, if you haven't watched the whole film, it will be tough for you to make meaning out of it, seeing one scene. But the assignment is one particular short, very short scene. And it's gonna take a year actually if you wanna analyze mise en scène in the whole film. That will be a whole paper. It's, yeah. Please.
When you say Englishification,
Yes.
Are you saying you mean like using the accents and that kind of thing, or how do you mean? I just want them to be clear.
Right.
That's actually a term I think people often try not to use because they're afraid they're mispronouncing it or don't know how to spell it or whatever. So you can.
Yeah, right. I mean, in that case, the pronunciation also will change. That's the reason I'm saying, I mean, it will be a different word in that case. So, mise en scène will be mise en scene. It will be pronounced in different ways. If we do not, and it will keep going on changing. And once it keeps going on changing, it kind of becomes normalized at a point, and people stop using the original language. And that's how the hegemony of language works. But that's a different topic. But you know what I'm saying. But yes, I mean, I'm not saying I'll be fussy about it in terms of grading. It's just my personal approach, and I will expect in the writing. If you're using a foreign language, better, and in case of this, which is a term, it's a term that came from the French cinema. So we better use the term at least. I mean, even if we're writing in English, that's fine. Just use the term the way it was, okay? But yes, if you have an argument on that, you can definitely write a paper on it, why we should not. That's the beautiful thing about academia, we can always have a debate. And that's why I love it. So anyone else who'd like to know some different terms that I haven't talked about? Lens, we said. Art direction, we talked about. Blocking, mise en scène, movements. Sounds, we talked. Diegetic, non-diegetic. Ambient, on-screen, and music, which is not on-screen, which is being put by the sound designer. And we got to name all these people, by the way, when we're writing about it. Anything else that you find interesting, you pointed here, but I'm not getting time to read it out loud, so that's just opening it up. No? All good? So now I'll move to Vertigo, the assignment that we have. And by the way, as you have put an effort of doing this, I'll give feedback to each comment in this box, add comment, just to give you the technical language how to write it. I'll do it by this weekend so that if you want to use some of these terms in your own analysis on Vertigo, you can just come back to it again. I'll upload it in Canvas to have a look at my comment. And if that's helpful to your assignment, awesome. Good? So two things that I want to highlight when we're talking about Vertigo. One is framing as along with character movement, not only camera movement. Where the characters are going. It may not make sense in one shot, but when, as I said in the last class as well, when something is repeated, if you remember Parasite, Bong Joon-ho's, we have this class difference through lines, architectures, interiors, if you remember the last class video, and how it is conveyed to us by repeating the shots. So that repetition we would see also in Vertigo. How the character composition, I'm moving from left to right to left, does it mean anything? It doesn't in one shot, but if it is repeated and the next scene is something else, whether I'm contrasting it or I'm following it up, like maintaining the same rhythm, what does it mean? The music, what it could mean. So in repetition, we'll get meaning out of it. Now let me show you some examples. Another is visual motive. So two things we'll discuss in Vertigo that will help you writing your assignment. One is visual motif. Motif as in what kind of visual symbols we see. Vertigo as in the title itself, you can see it's the spiral motif throughout the film we'll see. Spiral, circular. So something is happening in a circular motion, in music, in character movement, in art direction, and what it is trying to convey. So we'll try to figure that out. Let me show you first the motif one, that's quite easier one.
Circling the same idea endlessly, but the spiral adds an element of dissent and negative change that we often associate with someone who is obsessed. Vertigo is a tale about obsession, and Hitchcock uses the spiral in many layers of the film to amplify this theme. Now, after a traumatic accident,
Liberty Mutual is all she talks about since we
Be patient.
hunting our home and auto insurance.
our protagonist, Scotty Ferguson, retires as a detective.
It wasn't your fault. I know. I have acrophobia, which gives me vertigo when I get dizzy. Boy, what a moment to find out I had it.
But soon after, an old acquaintance asks Scotty a favor.
What do you want, Gavin? I asked you to come up here, Scotty, knowing that you quit detective work. Well, I wanted to really go back on the job as a special favor to me. I want you to follow my wife.
To follow his wife for a very peculiar reason.
I'm afraid some harm may come to her. Oh, someone dead. You believe that someone out of the past, someone dead, can enter and take possession of a living being? No.
Scotty doesn't believe Madeline is possessed, merely obsessed.
Well, I think that explains it. Anyone could become obsessed with the past with a background like that.
Obsession is the major theme of Vertigo, but there are minor themes that are also cyclical ideas. The idea of death and rebirth, and how the past haunts the present. These minor themes can also be represented in a spiral, and you can see just how perfect this motif is. Now, we have to talk about the title itself. Vertigo is a condition described as dizzying, swirling sensation as if the world around you is spinning. The spirals in the opening credits instantly evoke this sensation. But Hitchcock wouldn't be Hitchcock if he left it at that. Even before the movie truly begins, we hear the idea of vertigo. Listen to the mesmerizing melody in Bernard Herrmann's magnificent score. In fact, there are two scales being played, one ascending and one descending. The rising, falling, and repeating notes. It even sounds like a spiral. In the first 3 minutes, Hitchcock has already planted this idea in the title, music, and graphic design. He wants us to think about this shape so we can draw the connections when we see it later on.
So similar reason. The reason I'm showing it to you, we can draw the connections. I'm showing you macro now. Micro is your task. That's why I'm not going to the micro like that particular scene that you have assignment that you want to work on. But I'm kind of trying to help you, giving the macro idea how those micro stuffs are speaking to this big picture, whether through sounds, whether through the visual motive, and what kind of thematic goal this whole film has. Was it helpful to see how the music also is kind of related to it, and the title also is speaking to something, and how the little other details in the scene that you'll be assigned for the task, that you can easily now figure out how you will relate to the title, how will you relate it to those all things that you'll see in a particular scene, how will you relate it to the sounds and title. And I'll show you now camera movement and character movement.
Often the dark is who's telling the truth and who's lying to who. But if you pay attention, you'll see Hitchcock never lies to us. He's been telling us from the beginning that Scotty is in over his head, and he's being duped.
Just a little background before I actually start, because you haven't watched the film. So in the whole film, it's tough to identify as an audience who's telling the truth and who's telling lie. And that's where this discussion begins.
They're chasing a lie. The rule Hitchcock adheres to is this: left to right is the natural order. We read that way, and so our eyes naturally want to move the camera that way. In vertigo, moving left to right means telling the truth. Right to left means you're telling a lie. Often we see characters balancing in the center, unable to distinguish whether they're being truthful or deceiving one another. Now, this is a theory, but after watching the film again recently, I found plenty of moments to help back me up. Obvious moments, like Hitchcock's own cameo. As we can see, he moves from left to right, just before crossing paths with our main character, Scotty, who's moving right to left. He even goes so far as explaining the rule through dialogue. It's the first time we see Scotty on the left side of the frame, and he's here blatantly telling audiences how to navigate the rest of the film.
I have a theory. I think if I can get used to heights just a little bit at a time, just a little like that, progressive, you see, I'll show you what I mean.
So there it is, Scotty's natural order, left to right. But let's start at the beginning and see what happens when you go against the natural order. The first shot is at the last rung in the ladder. We see two fists come up, right, then left. At first glance, we're told something is wrong. The chase continues across rooftops, moving from right to left, with Stewart's character following behind. Immediately, we see Scotty afflicted with his disability. He's hanging off the edge of a high roof and cannot focus enough to save himself. A fellow police officer falls to his death, trying to save him, stacking the guilt on top of Scotty's fear. But what does this all mean in terms of framing? We see three different men on a race for the left. The youngest, most athletic, is ahead and winning. Next is the older but able-bodied cop chasing his criminal. Then we meet our hero. He drags behind, does not fit the mold of cops' first robbers, and has a problem making the last jump, up and to the left. Visually speaking, he's chasing a lie, something unattainable. It is not Scotty's destiny or even his job to follow a criminal across rooftops. Hitchcock is telling us that our character is not only in the wrong place at the wrong time, but that he doesn't realize it yet. From this scene on, Scotty's seen on the right side of the frame. He's cosmologically stuck on this side of the frame because he won't accept the possibility of failure, that he hasn't achieved his destiny, or that he may never will, or that his dream was even wrong in the first place.
She was a bright young lawyer who decided he was going to be chief of police someday.
Our first female role, Midge, is introduced on the left side of the frame. Not only is she a former love interest, she's also an artist, which will come to play an important role in the concepts of fiction.
Why did Amazon send me $20,000? Because I use Amazon AI. I'm going to show you a way to potentially make money by pairing Amazon with the...
She presented later. Midge is the voice of reason. She's on the left because left to right means telling the truth. However, Scotty can't accept that yet. He's seen pointing his new cane in the center of the frame, attacking the left, attacking Midge, while the two of them argue over what he'll do with the rest of his life. Scotty's frustrated, but he hasn't accepted the fact that he could be wrong, that his life chasing criminals may be over forever. At one point, Scotty points to a brazier on the left-hand side of the frame where Midge is blocked. He asks about the design, and Midge answers that it's based off the physics of the cantilever bridge, known for having support on only one side of the structure. And if you say it fast enough, it sounds like she's saying the can't believe her bridge.
Which on the principle of the cantilever bridge.
Which directly foreshadows Scotty's inability to forget about Madeline later in the film. Notice how he points down and to the left. The next important scene has Scotty talking to what will prove to be the man who sees it. An old friend asks Scotty to do a favor.
I want you to follow my wife. No, it's not that.
Sounds simple enough until he mentions,
I'm afraid some harm may come to it. Oh, someone dead.
For almost the entire scene, Scotty's placed on the left side of the frame. He's only been here once before, but it looks comfortable for him. He lost his cane, he's confident again, he should be ready for a new journey. A real journey, from left to right.
Well, I guess that just about covered everything.
Though his potential is quickly interrupted by his friend's request.
I'm supposed to be retired. I'm only mixed up in the dark.
If you watch this scene again, you'll see that as soon as Scotty agrees to his friend's request, he's placed on the opposite end of the frame. More hints are given here as Scotty's bleeding friend is consistently placed in front of the many paintings on the wall behind him. The room is full of different pictures and paintings, art and fantasy. Hitchcock frames him purposely this way because he's trying to tell us that this man is lying. This man is slowly building a fictional frame around himself and his lies in order to eventually frame Scotty.
So we got an idea of how framing also speaks to the macro picture. You haven't watched, but was it helpful? Because when we watch, we may not be focusing on this particularly left to right and right to left position. Now, when you watch the film, you can perhaps think deeper about it. Why and what kind of repetitions we see and why we see that of movement. Not only camera movement, we got it, shots and editing cuts. But now I'm talking about mise-en-scène of characters, blocking, like why they're moving and when they're switching positions on the left side and on the right side of the frame. And there are a few more examples that we won't see now, but I'll upload it. You can have a look at it if you want to know more about how Interstellar speaks to Dan Harmon's story circle and how people review cinema and see cinema and kind of speak about cinema. Those kind of samples are there as well. And I would want you to scan it, not to do anything right now, but to help you later. Like you can scan it and you can have the resource. It will give you access to a lot of things that we have seen here, whether videos or texts or other slides that I have. It will take you to a page, a site, where all the videos that I have shown and I haven't shown, but I do it in other classes. You can access them, and if you're interested to go deeper and more analytical about it, feel free. It works. Does it work? The QR code? Awesome. So thank you. All the best to your assignment, and good luck. Thank you.